And we're looking at the crowds gathering now at the Royal Mile in Edinburgh. We saw the gates there of Holyrood Palace in the background, where we're expecting to see the King and Queen emerge, Queen Consort Camilla, or as Nick says now, Queen Camilla. Let's speak to our national news reporter Paul Hawkins, who's in Edinburgh for this afternoon. And Paul, from the numbers we're seeing, I think we've even seen a Canadian flag there representing the Commonwealth. The authorities may be having to reassess the sort of public order issues with respect to this.
Yeah, absolutely, because look, you can see here how squashed in I am. There are so many thousands and thousands of people in the streets. In fact, if I just step out a shot, you can see just past me here, just past this lamppost here, just over here, there are members of Scottish Parliament, MSPs, Scottish politicians making their way at the moment into St Giles Cathedral for that memorial service to remember Her Majesty the Queen. We've already seen other dignitaries. We've seen lords and ladies and earls and members of the emergency services. So the great and the good of Edinburgh, of Scotland, making their way for that service, which will begin at around about 3 p.m. after the coffin, the Queen's coffin, is brought up the Royal Mile. It's going to be a very sombre moment with King Charles and the Queen Consort walking behind. It's going to take its time making its way up the Royal Mile. It is uphill, it's a bit of a walk, but they'll be making that walk, and it really will be something to see the streets, the packed streets of Edinburgh, of the Royal Mile, as that hearse makes its way up the hill. We know that when the coffin entered Edinburgh yesterday and entered the palace, there was a kind of ripple of applause through the crowd down the Royal Mile, which then, even though the coffin had entered the palace, that ripple of applause then came back up the Royal Mile towards here to St Giles Cathedral. Doesn't feel like the crowd are going to do that this time, given it's going to be the King following his mother in the hearse, in the coffin. So it feels like it's going to be very, very, very quiet when the coffin leaves the palace and makes its way up here to the cathedral.